I want to talk to you guys about a few things. Trying to make some more content for you. And I'd like to talk tonight briefly, just briefly, about psychic self defense. This is something that I see a lot of topics on. I see a lot of good stuff from other content creators out there, and I wanted to give you guys my spin on it. So here we go. How do I do personal defense for me, psychic defense for me? Um, Being a professional magician for hire, there's a lot of drama in this business. I'm gonna be straight up with you. There's a lot of magician on magician beefs. There's rivalries. There's squabbles. I mean, there's shit that shouldn't be here that is here. That's just keeping it real. And it's the left hand path. You know, it's a vicious it's a vicious path. I'm gonna keep it real. And so because of that, there are a lot of conflicts, and some of it's ego related. Some of it's anyway. It shouldn't be this way, but it is. So it's not the way that I want it to be, but I just kind of try to stay in my lane and do me. Your first defense is staying in your lane and doing you. If you're not worried, if you're not worried about what other people are doing, if you're not well, there you go. If you're not worried about what the next man's doing, and you're just kind of worried about what you're doing, you're already one step ahead. Um, that's really one of the best defenses that you can have, is because if you're not engaging people that are dramatic, or engaging people that are out there causing trouble, then you're not going to have problems, really. Another really good overlooked rule would be just respecting other people. Um, if you do that, then you probably will get the same respect in return, and you won't have as much static. Look, you're going to have static, and you're going to have issues in the left-hand path no matter what you do, unless you are totally and completely solitary, and you have your head stuck like right in the sand like an ostrich. That's the only way. That's the only way. So don't be afraid of conflict. I mean, conflict is a part of life, but you don't want to live for conflict either. So, magically speaking, what do I do to protect myself? Uh, I have layers of defense. Put it like that. And obviously, I'm not going to be able to tell you, everything right now about that, but I can tell you the basics of it. I use semi-precious stones to give me a base hardening in my aura. It's an alchemical transfiguration of the aura. This, for example, will be a good piece to show you. This is called the Nasser Evil Eye Stone or bead. It comes from Turkey, all right? And what it represents is each of those eyes is like the tail feather of a peacock. I'm going to show you a peacock here real quick if you don't know what that is. That's a peacock. Now, what that means is this. These are the tail feathers, symbolically, of Melik Taus, the peacock angel of the Yazidi tribe in Turkey. Now, these will deflect curses that are unconsciously generated by competent magicians that aren't trained. Like anybody who's got willpower, concentration, and imagination can do magic. They don't even realize they do it, but they do. Hey, thank you for joining us. So with those people, they often put curses on people without realizing it. And then this type of protection is what works best on that, I find myself. So I would use that. I would use stones like Tiger's Eye. Um, I'd use stones like onyx. Hey, thank you for joining us. I would use other things like that. That's a base level of defense. That's a defense that I don't have to do anything for that's going to protect me. All right? That's the first layer. Second layer, you could consider ritual work. If you're doing an LBRP in the morning, let's say, LBRP is going to banish the area around you and keep it psychically clean for approximately 12 to 24 hours ish. You can, however, anchor the 4 stars and the shield, the globe around yourself. You can anchor that effect to yourself and walk with it. You can anchor that to a mudra and walk with it. That's one thing you can do if you really need active defense. I prefer myself an active defense, like a 40-day protection ritual, like something where I'd involve probably Halphus and Malphus would be a good bet for it. That's active protections. Like that's something that I have to do something for. Okay, another layer of protection would be environmental, and this is hugely overlooked. This is overlooked. Okay, if you've got leaky faucets or toilets or pipes in your house, you are leaking chi energy, and you are accumulating negative chi in those areas. That negative chi attracts entities that feed off that negative energy. Parasites, tricksters, and imposters. Always, always, always fix those types of things immediately when you see them broken. That's the first one. To stop vampirism and vampiric attacks, you can take a bowl of salt, rock salt, and cut a clove, no, I cut a garlic clove into 8 pieces. You take your 8 pieces of garlic clove and put them in a circle in the salt, and one in the center. And that will stop any type of vampiric parasite from going into your room or your quarters. They won't be able to enter as long as that's placed by the door. Warding would be another really good way to psychically defend yourself. I hear a lot of people don't even know what the word warding means. To ward means to fortify or to protect. Every single window, door, exhaust vent, air conditioning unit, all of that, any way into a room or out of a room is a potential way for a spirit to get into your room. Okay? You need to, at least on a once a week or once every 2 weeks basis, ward the exits and ward the egresses. Simple way to do that. You could use some sorcery on that. I prefer a Hecate sorcery on that. It's very simple, and I go around each of the windows and doors, and I put my seal on there, and that stops a whole lot of shit right there. And I do it room by room by room after I sage. So I get everything out of the house, and then I put everything, all the wards up. And if you want to get in, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. I mean, a really experienced magician still could, a really strong demon still could, but it's gonna take a lot, and you're gonna sense these wards getting tore up. So, another thing that would be good, having a guardian spirit. Okay, having a spiritual ally. All right. A good spiritual ally. You can't beat that. A spirit guard. That's not necessarily the same as a patron spirit. A spirit guard is a spirit that is literally to guard you. There have been times in my career which have been so fraught with peril that I've had to contact spirits like Marcosius to sign on with me for a 3 to 6 month period to be like a spiritual bodyguard. That's happened. Things were so hot. And it works fine. It's a good way to get more protection. Another way to stay psychically clean: do not touch other people and do not allow yourself to be touched. Like casual contact like this, spirits move, okay, through physical contact, and they move through breath. Okay? Like this. Like a spirit, when you give someone a kiss, if you've got something inside of you, it can come from you and go right into them. Okay? And that would be attachment or that would be possession. One or the other. It depends on the spirits, how strong they are, and what their intentions are. Even a handshake could be enough. A handshake could be enough to transfer one spirit to another. There are magicians I know that don't ever shake hands, and that's why. In those situations, you just have to kind of play it by ear, and like if you don't feel comfortable shaking hands with somebody, then don't. That's what I would tell you. But stay out of rough places. Stay out of places where there's a lot of rough people and rough language, because lower level spirits tend to inhabit those places more frequently, especially if there's alcohol involved. If you live a clean lifestyle without drugs and alcohol, and you're clean, and you keep your mind on elevated kind of thoughts, and you walk a higher road mentally, you're going to be away from those kind of spirits anyway. If you have a blood pacted patron, like a goetic, depending on who that is, they will not allow a spirit like that, like a parasite or a trickster, to even get into your lane. Like they won't even allow that to happen. So those are the ways that I would tell you that are good to create defense around yourself. It's good to think about it from multiple angles, like passive, like active. Like what do I have to do to defend myself from different types of threats? You're going to have mainly threats of parasites, tricksters, and imposters, hostile magic or magicians, and hostile spirits. And when you talk about hostile spirits, you're talking about spiritual attack, curses, or spiritual possession or attachment. So in those situations, those are the things you got to really look out for. Fermina, Nathan, what's up, brother? Okay, it's great to have you here. Why don't you ask us a question then, huh? You say I'm a noob, or are you the noob? If you're the noob, it's okay if you're here. If you have a question, I'm happy to answer it for you, brother. Okay, so what's your question? Good. Okay, great. Well, great. Thank you for coming, Nathan. That's good. Thank you for coming. Yeah, that's how I would handle different types of defense and different types of threats and stuff. Let me give you guys a quick look at the temple here so you can see it. This is the kind of a view of the temple here. We have a lot of spirits here that we work with in this pantheon, and it's a It's a great place to be here. I love this place. And that's the temple of the backwards tree. So anyway, it's good to talk to you guys. We haven't done a little bit of content in a while, so I'm happy that we got to tonight. So psychic self defense, we've kind of covered this a little bit. I'm going to talk about it more in depth in the future. We'll do a part 2. So thanks everybody for joining me. This is Mike B, the Silver Devil, the Dark God of the Clippa. Peace and chicken grease.